Good evening, everyone. It is the Camera Artist Guild Thursday Image Critique, and I am your host, George DeLoache. I'm a portrait artist and photographer's coach coming to you from Los Angeles, California. And I say that every week, but there's somebody that might not know who I am. Okay, we got some really great images. I picked 5 that I thought really had merit. I'm gonna push you guys a little bit harder. I love photography, and I also enjoy teaching, and you guys just make my life wonderful. Camera Artist Guild is a it's a great group of people, and I have been sometimes torn between being too critical and being too nice because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I am not going to change that around. But I am going to step up the pace a little bit because I want you guys to aspire to greatness. I want you to be great. I want everyone out there to be fabulous, whether you're in Africa, whether you're in India, whether you're in the United States or South America, doesn't make any difference. Like I said, I want them to hear the roar of Camera Artist Guild all across the world. And I want them to turn to Camera Artist Guild to find top-rate talent. And so, yeah, is that a big dream? Yeah, it is. But I believe in big dreams, and I believe in you. And so together we can do that. Okay, this is the first image. It's Keith Davis. It's a composite. And I like your idea, especially today with all of the stuff that's going on in the Middle East and the problems that are there. This lady looks Iranian, and I don't know whether that was your attempt or not, but I see the mosque and the buildings. And one thing that I'd like to point out on this one, I like what you're doing, and you apparently shot this high key, then you did a dropout, then you put it on your backdrop. But I want you to stop and think when you're doing your original photograph of this lady, where is the direction of the light coming from, and where would the lady be standing in relationship to that light? Rather than just lighting a face, which you did, and you did a wonderful job of it. I love, this beauty light setup. I use it all the time. And it's a butterfly type light. It's executed perfectly. The shadows underneath the nose, the butterfly shadow under the nose doesn't intersect the upper lip, and it doesn't go into the nose. It meets right there in the middle. It's exactly where it's supposed to be. Your pose is strong. But now, if you were going to place her in here, understanding your light source is back here behind her back, so you can't depend upon the sun to illuminate her. You can't plan to light her as if she was illuminated by the sun. So you're going to have to think through, and she's going to have to be illuminated by an interior light source. And an interior light source, unless she's in an auditorium, is not going to be flat all the way across. The same amount of light hitting the top of her head as hitting her bottom. So that calls for a grid, and it calls for a smaller light source, figuring that light source maybe 30 inches, 36 inches, 38 inches, somewhere along in there, maximum. And you want a grid on that, because with that grid, you can turn that grid so that you can bring this area here, and there'll be a fade, a shadow fade right down into her lower extremities. And then maybe rotate her head a little to the camera left and pull that light around in the short light position so that it would look like it's coming down this corridor and striking her. And then that just really, now, I don't know for sure, I'd have to play with it, but that is the process. You, first of all, you come up with your concept, which you've done, and then you visualize your final image. And in the process of visualizing, you ask yourself a question: where's the light coming from, and how can I put that light on her in the most becoming way to make her look stunning and outstanding, but yet still stay true to the light direction. Now, a lot of photographers don't take account for that. And that's why some of their images just don't pop the way they should. They're kind of hit the ho-hum button. This one doesn't. It's good. Youth, you're an excellent photographer. I thank the world and all of you, man. You are a hustler, and I'm praying for you all the time, brother. I just want to help you continue to grow just like you've grown before. So I hope that makes sense. It's not one of the new AI programs. It might be, and I'm just not familiar with it. It's only certain things. I only got so much space in my brain, and I'm cramming information in from every direction. I missed that about the new AI. It very well may be. But if it were a composite, and see, he showed an image side by side. You'll see it when you look at it on the Guild page. But side by side, he showed one image in white, and then he showed this finished image. So I assumed it was a composite. Okay, next image, and this is Jerome Hart. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. I'm glad you're out there and still going. You've been with us for quite a while, and I am really glad to see your work. Interesting photograph. A couple of things I do to spruce it up a little bit more and take it on up to the next level. Number one, the position of the light. Now, I don't know, and I am trying to figure out here. Let's see. It looks to me like you've got a softbox camera left and a fill light at the camera position. It's a smaller fill light. That's this little dot right here, and then this is your softbox or umbrella, one of the two. So let's keep that light, the key light, where it is, and let's move that. Now this is going to sound crazy, but let's move that fill light away from the camera position where it is, and that's a traditional position for a key light. Now, it should be a large softbox, and the theory is that it's supposed to be non-directional and non-specular. But I have found that if you move that key light off just a little bit, see, because where your light source here, well, actually, unless you're going to go to a 6-foot softbox like I use, I'll stop that and go keep it where it is. Just tone it down some. Right now, it looks as if the light striking the subject is coming directly on, rather than off on an angle, 45-degree angle. But it's neither here nor there. That's it. You can try rotating her body a little to camera right, and shooting. One of the rules of the thumb is you shoot into the hair part, especially when the hair is dripping or drooping over the eye like this, and that shadow comes right down through the iris. If you were to move her a little to camera right and rotate your camera a little to camera left, then that part would be closer to the center, and this shadow would disappear behind the hairline. Otherwise, you got to deal with this shadow right down, all the way down her eye and down her face there, which kind of is a bit confusing when the eye is looking at it. Okay, the next thing that you could do is consider, like I pointed out earlier, the 2 kickers and a hair light, if you can get away with it. Very, very light. Very, very light. I see it say that, very, very light. Just enough to separate her from the background. Now, if you don't have 3 lights and you can't get 3 lights up on them, and believe you me, you can. I'm not trying to get you to buy any gear. I believe in form follows function. Only buy the gear you need when you need it, and you get that gear's got to pay for itself in the jobs you're shooting. Otherwise, it's a toy, and it doesn't have a place in a business plan. But you can go on eBay and you can find older strobe lights relatively inexpensive, and you can find modifiers relatively inexpensive. Now you don't have to buy Chimera or Profoto or Hensel's or Elinchrome's or one of the other fancier brands. I photograph every day with photogenics that were made in the 70s. And they're still kicking away. I don't think I could get 25 bucks for them, but they work. They work just fine. They squirt photons, and that's all a strobe light can do. So whether you spend $1,000 on a Profoto, what is it, B1, or maybe it's $3,000 or $4,000 on a B1, or $25 on a used photogenic, when it gets to the actual creating of the image, it doesn't make any difference at all. It's how you handle that light. So you can come across inexpensive light sources. If you're in a major city, look in Craigslist, because there are people like me that are at the end of their career. I'm not. I'm still going strong. But there are people that have reached the end of their career, and they've got older equipment, and they're trying to sell off their studios, and they will sell the stuff for cheap because they can't compete with the newer products. Everybody thinks they want newer because somehow newer is better. But just consider that as a source. And another thing that you could do to add a little bit of extra dimension to it is place a light on the background. Put a little bitty light on the background, just kind of fading into the background here, just illuminating. Again, light. It was Don Blair that uses the example of all accent lighting should be like spices. Too much spice, you spoil it. Not enough spice, you don't have any flavor. You're looking for that exact amount in order to get that image to look the way you want it to.